now move on to our top story tonight. As Donald Trump gets ready to take oath as the 47th President of the United States, the President-elect Trump has now backed Elon Musk, breaking his silence over the ongoing H-1B visa row. He says that he's been a big believer of the program. In fact, in an interview recently, he said, and I quote, "I've always liked the visas. I've always been in favor of visas." Now, remember, this is coming in just days after Elon Musk, in a post on X, stated that bringing top engineering talent from abroad is essential for America to keep winning. And that post sparked a huge row, a huge debate between Musk and conservative groups who have been part of Trump's MAGA campaign. His views are, remember, Trump's views are in sharp contrast to his election campaign promises, because during the campaign, Trump vowed to deport illegal immigrants. And that's the reason why many of Trump's supporters have been increasingly pushing for scrapping the H-1B visa program amidst debate happening over migration and immigration. Now, the matter flared up, especially after Trump chose Indian-American entrepreneur Sriram Krishnan as an advisor on artificial intelligence policy in his coming administration. Now, this shift, like I said, on H-1B visa has, of course, made the row crucial, as Trump administration may bring about some changes in the program through which companies hire foreign workers. And how Trump decides on the H-1B visa policy will have a major impact on Indian Americans working in the country. And of course, to take that debate further, I'm now joined by Professor Madhav Das Nalapat, the Director of Geopolitics and International Relations and UNESCO Peace Chair at Manipal University in India, and Jayant Dasgupta, former Ambassador and Representative of India at the WTO. Let me come to you first, Professor Nalapat. So what's caused Trump to do a volte-face of sorts on the H-1B visas? Because this, remember, at least from the looks of it, it's being seen as going against his conservative voter base, who actually voted him in on the back of Make America Great Again.
Well, I'd like to point out that the answer to that is really no. It is not going against any of his election promises. He promised to stop illegal immigration. And last year, there was an estimated 16 million, conservatively. The actual figure probably is much more, who crossed into the United States illegally from the Mexican border, from the Canadian border, and by various other means. Now, there's a big difference between legal and illegal. The H-1B visa, let's not forget, is less than 100,000 people. We're talking about 100,000 jobs in the largest economy in the world. It's nothing, frankly. The whole point is very simple. The point is that Trump promised that he will block illegal immigration. And whom does that affect? You guessed it. Today, an increasing number of tech companies are choosing Indian workers in H-1B against their main competitor, Chinese workers. In other words, they're choosing citizens of the Republic of India against citizens of the People's Republic of China. And can you blame them, given the geopolitical situation? So I'd like to point out this is completely consistent with Trump's policies. Musk is completely consistent with Trump's policies. And there's a huge debate going on in the US for more than a generation, whether merit should be the only criterion, whether there should be another criterion. Look, the fact is, it's demeaning to say that skin color determines merit. Absolutely not. The fact of the matter is that opportunity needs to be provided to everybody. And remember a guy called J.D. Vance, who's going to take over as the next Vice President of the United States on the 20th of January. J.D. Vance was dirt poor, really among the poorest of the poor. He came from a single-parent family. His mother was alcoholic through much of his upbringing. And he overcame all that by sheer dint of excellence and brilliance, got into all the best colleges. And how did that happen? He had help. He had help with his devoted wife, Sita, whom, of course, he later on married. And that's a beautiful book, Hillbilly Elegy. I'd advise everybody to watch it. Now, J.D. Vance is certainly not Indian. He's certainly not African. He is completely of European stock. And yet, he has done exceptionally well on merit. The argument here is basically, should merit prevail over everything else? And may I say, in a 21st century economy, in a 21st century industry, now characterized by OpenAI, AI, etc.
Yes.
Merit has to prevail
Yes.
if the United States has to survive Chinese competition. The only people whom this is helping, this entire
Absolutely.
MAGA uproar over nothing, less than 100,000 jobs is helping, are citizens of People's Republic of China. You're putting all the focus on a mere less than 100, I
Yes.
think it's about 70,000 jobs
Yes.
on the Indians. Well, the Chinese
Right,
come
Professor
illegally
Nalapat.
and they come in all over the place and they then start creating problems for you.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to say this is
Absolutely. And
absolutely
Professor Nalapat,
no problem with Trump's policy. It's entirely in line with his campaign promise.
right. Absolutely, Professor Nalapat, and very important issues that you've raised, particularly related to illegal immigration. And of course, you mentioned China, and of course, there is Mexico as well. But as far as Indians are concerned, in fact, according to stats, 85,000 of these visas actually got approved in 2024. So let me take that point across to you, Mr. Dasgupta. Why is it causing such a discomfiture in conservatives in America? Is this just about race?
Well, I would just like to mention a few basic facts. Since the setting up of the WTO, the US had given a commitment that it would give 65,000 H-1B visas and 20,000 additional visas of the same category for candidates having a postgraduate qualification from a US university, which means either an MS or MA or PhD. So 85,000 in all. H-1B visas are given every year. Now, the visas are, the application process starts from the 1st of October, and within the first 3-4 days, it is oversubscribed, and then it is closed. The applications are not taken anymore. And then there is a basic screening, and then there is a lottery, unfortunately. Now, as far as this controversy is concerned, I think amongst President-elect Trump's supporters, there are two different groups. One is big business and, Fortune 500 companies and such like. Now, they are heavily dependent on H-1B visa holders for manning many of their positions. So that is one group. Elon Musk obviously belongs to that group. The second group is that of the MAGA extreme right-wing supporters who think that by denying immigration, even legal immigration, they will get back jobs for American workers. Now, therein lies the problem. America has progressed over the past century and a half because it has embraced people with exceptional abilities in science, technology, management, etc., from all over the world, and given them visas to come and work in the US, teach in the US, etc. Now, if that stops, America will lose its competitive edge, and it will then not be able to be, far ahead of the rest of the world, including China. So this contradiction, I think, came to a fore when Elon Musk spoke out very strongly in favor of carrying on with H-1B visas, and President Trump has also supported him. The second statement which Elon Musk has made about the system being broken, that has more than a grain of truth in it, because there are companies, people point the finger at some of the Indian major companies also, saying that they're gaming the system. If they need one visa, they will put in 4 applications. And at least one of them will go through the screening process and the lottery also, and they will get what they want. So that is the kind of gaming. To address the concern raised by the MAGA group about jobs getting lost, I think Elon Musk, in his second statement, has addressed that. He's saying that there should be a minimum salary which should be prescribed for H-1B visa holders, that they will get at least this salary. So below that, for the common American citizen with an ordinary qualification, it should not come in the way. The H-1B visa people will not compete with them. That is one thing. The second thing is he's also added
Okay.
another proviso that the companies should also pay
Right.
something extra for having an H-1B visa employee on their rolls. So the cost to the company will be
Right.
the salary plus that additional amount. And then there will be a disincentive, really speaking, to engage H-1B visa holders on a company's rolls in the US.
Right. Absolutely. And Mr. Dasgupta, will come to that point in just a bit, but very important point that you made about America having a competitive edge. So perhaps it needs to look at skilling its own people, and not really stopping other skilled people from coming to its shores, because like you stated, America is what it is today because of the so many skilled people that are currently operating there. Professor Nalapat, so what kind of policy adjustments do you expect Donald Trump to make when he assumes office, in view, of course, these H-1B visas? Is this going to be a tough balancing act for him?
Sorry, I'd like to say very clearly that less than 100,000 jobs is a flea bite. It's frankly a storm in a teacup, as Shakespeare would say, much ado about nothing. There is really, very little political mileage in terms of voters that can happen here. But of course, there is an effort by certain interested parties to paint Indian workers, people from India, citizens from India, in a very bad way, and as though they're threatening their jobs. The fact is, the working class American is hardly bothered by the Indian American or by the Indian person who temporarily migrates to the US. The Indian who temporarily migrates to the US, or the Indian American, typically has the highest income level of any ethnic group in the United States. I think it's followed by Japanese Americans, if I'm not mistaken, and then Jewish Americans. The Indians are the highest. They contribute the most in terms of per capita taxation. And when you talk about a country's growth, you're talking of surplus. You're talking of net surplus. When you have large numbers of people, now you got that in Scandinavia, you got that in Germany, you got that in France, you got that in the UK, large groups of people who basically taken twice, thrice what they get in Social Security as what they contribute. Many of them contribute for almost nothing. Now tell me, how will a country grow unless there's a net contribution? And if you try and bring down the net contribution of the highest net contributors, what's going to happen to you? I think, quite frankly, the whole row was kicked up because certain countries got alarmed by the chosen Indian American who was chosen to head his IT team. And now when you compare that with the chosen CIA chief, with the chosen national intelligence chief, when you choose all that, you see a clear tilt in favor of democracies and a clear tilt away from authoritarianism. And this has created countermeasures. Unfortunately, some MAGA people have fallen prey to these countermeasures.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of misinformation also, Professor Nalapat, that's going on around. Like you stated, that 85, just about less than 100,000 jobs that are given to people under H-1B visas. I stated 85,000 of these legally valid visas of course, have been given clearance. Let me come to you, Mr. Dasgupta. What kind of policy adjustments do you expect now Donald Trump to make? And I was just asking Professor Nalapat as well, is this going to be a tough balancing act for him? Because Elon Musk has raised, and of course you were also mentioning this, has raised a very important point that the program is broken and needs major reform. So when you talk about reform, and Elon Musk is a close aide of Donald Trump, what kind of adjustments, what kind of tweaks is he going to make to this policy? What do you anticipate? And how is that going to impact Indian workers or looking to move to America and looking to work there?
Well, for one thing, the American system also lays down that a company, before asking for an H-1B visa holder or sponsoring an H-1B visa holder, will have to ensure that the requisite talent that it requires, it is not available in the US. And they have taken recourse to asking for an H-1B visa immigrant to come in only because it is not available. So I think there they will try to ensure that this whole exercise is carried out in a proper manner. That it is not just some routinized exercise that I write a letter to the employment exchange or whatever is there agency and or advertise, and if I don't get it in 10 days or 15 days, I even if I get some applications, I reject them, and then I say that the talent is not available in the US. So I think there would be one check there. The second one is about the proposal which Elon Musk has given about raising the minimum salary levels so that they don't compete with the majority of Americans who may be, for instance, earning less than, let's say, $80,000 at the entry level in technical jobs. So that will bring in people, let's say, at $120,000 or $140,000 per annum, which would be at the middle management level or at a fairly highly skilled level. So that would ensure that people with a higher degree of skill only come in. Maybe engineering, medicine, the sciences, other
Right.
things. So these are two of the things. But mind
Right,
you,
sir. Right.
the pushback will come from the Fortune 500 companies also, because they depend in some measure on H-1B visa holders coming in and helping them with their
Right.
work. So this pushback, I think President Trump will be able to take some cosmetic, make some cosmetic exercises which will show to his MAGA supporters that he's out to protect their jobs, the American jobs, and bringing back the jobs to the US.
Absolutely.
But at the same
Absolutely.
time, not treading on the toes of the Fortune 500 or the big technological companies or the science-based or,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
medical healthcare business companies.
Absolutely, because Mr. Dasgupta, that's also in America's interest as well. And of course, let's also not forget that Donald Trump has recruited or, of course, named at least 4 people as part of his organization. You have, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy there, and of course, the new AI head as well. He's also going to be part of that administration. Then you have Kash Patel as well, Jay Bhattacharya and Harmeet Dhillon, all of whom have gone there and have backed those plum positions only on the back of their talent. But it'll be an interesting story to track, gentlemen, on what the policy tweaks are going to be so far as H-1B visas are concerned. And of course, like you said, Mr. Dasgupta, there are only going to be cosmetic changes because because that's also in America's interest to have a skilled labor in the country. On that note, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on ET Now and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.